Hey, it's Erica, and welcome to Friday 15. I've realized one of the things that I really struggle with as a librarian is using these little chunks of time meaningfully, and one of my other challenges is actually dealing with, the new bookshelf of when I go to the bookstore and I buy books at my local independent, and I never cover them or process them as fast as I want to. So, I'm going to use this idea of smarter, not harder, right? I've got 15 minutes and I've got a problem, which is all these new books that need to get processed. So let's tackle both of those things together and have just a little 15-minute recap of the week, the Friday 15. So while I'm covering, we're gonna have a little chat because, oh my gosh. So I thought I knew what I was gonna, Friday afternoon. I thought I knew what I was gonna talk about. And then it was my last class of the day. I teach a class Friday afternoon at 2:15, my final class of the day. Of course, it is my oldest kids, my 5th graders. And it's been a week around here. We've had a snow day, we've had snow delays, and they were coming on down. They were looking pretty good. And then the administrator walks in because it's drop-in day, drop-in observation for my 5th grade on a Friday afternoon. What could be better than that? A lot of things could be better than that is the answer. A lot. Thankful I had a good lesson planned. Solid lesson. We were talking about Don't Fall for Fake, one of those lessons from Google's Be Internet Awesome. We were using pieces of it and pieces that I've kind of gathered over the years of what we can do as learners and users to keep ourselves safer online. And it was a review week from what we had talked about last week, which I thought was actually pretty great because my students were really on it. And we want to take this down. And then looking at some examples this week. Again, Friday afternoon is typically, I don't know about you and your school, but it is one of the hardest classes of the week to teach. Doesn't matter what grade level it is. It tends to just to be really, really tricky. And I was so thankful that my 5th graders today held it together as well as they did. I think I'm going to cover these all first, and then I'm going to tape the covers down. By the way, this is new for us. It's a fantastic read aloud. Yeah, we'll do some book talks while we do the Friday 15. Why not? Sergeant Reckless, Patricia McCormick. It's my favorite read out loud for Veterans Day. That is Reckless. He is a horse. He was in the Korean War and absolutely served. My kids, we read this out loud. I had borrowed a copy from my local public library, and they said, we have to own this book in here. It had gone out of print, and I got a copy through Thrift Books, which, while it's not my local independent bookstore, is a fantastic place to shop for pre-loved books because, like Reduce, Reuse, Recycle, this is reusing books and getting them back into a library setting. And this one is like perfectly brand new. It looks great. So, that was my Friday afternoon. I also don't know about in your library, where you are, if you're in a library or in a classroom, but in my space there is this zone that is always the zone where drama seems to unfold. It is this back kind of corner of the library where if there's going to be some shenanigans, it's going to happen back there. And both of my afternoon classes, that's what was going on today. Have I mentioned that we had a snow day and snow delay this week? My patience was fairly limited with people going back there and having absolutely nothing positive to do. So we shut that down pretty quick during our classes and just said, go find somewhere else to be in the space. Make that happen, make a better choice, because if it does not get shut down, I think what we all know is that whatever, what you don't correct, you permit. And I certainly do not permit kids to be hanging out in this back zone doing absolutely nothing connected to what they should be doing at checkout time. What are we covering now? Sharing the dream. Sheila P. Moses, Keith Mallet. Our school does a march every year, a March for Peace and Justice. And this is the book. It is a picture book story about the March on Washington, told through a child's eyes. Brand new 2025 book. Absolutely beautiful on the inside with lots of historical figures throughout the story. So Now it's covered. Put it in my pile. Keep going. One of the things I do, if you're wondering how I have these all stacked and ready to go, when I'm covering books, I like to get them all organized and cut the covers first. I've had schools before where I have a space, like a big office, an actual like private office to do that work. And here I am not so lucky. I have a desk. I'm currently sitting at it. And what you see here is pretty much what I've got. And in order to work as efficiently as possible, I will often cut the covers to size first, then start the covering process. This one is going to be just really, like, did I choose the right size cover? I don't know. We'll see about that. We'll see what I did. So I don't like doing, because I don't have space, right? I can't leave all of this out all day long. I have literally this one desk to do everything on. It is circulation, it is public facing, and if I start this project of book covering, I need to have it wrapped up before the end of the day because other people are using the library. I'm also in a building that is a shared building, so people can come in here over the weekends and use the library. And you don't want to leave it with all of your half-processed books out on the counter, or at least I don't. So let's take a look at this. Another perfect cover job. Well, it's an okay cover job. Mais Ao Yi. This one is two authors, Nguyen and Monique Truong. 2025 story. Zhang Ho is our illustrator. It is the story of an Ao Yi and Mai, who doesn't necessarily want to wear it to her family's Tet celebration, or Tet. And one of the places that I was reading this book, I had a volunteer who was in the space Vietnamese, and I really tried to say the word Tet appropriately. That's my best. That's what I got today on this Friday 15. So, brand new 2025, and excellent inclusive story. I don't know what this camera is doing. Ignore it. It's having a moment. Turn that part off. Is that better? Maybe so. I don't know. It's like moving all over the place and I don't know why. Let's keep covering books and let's keep chatting. We're about halfway through our time, and hey, I have gotten 1, 2, 3 books covered. 3 books in 7.5 minutes. I'm gonna call that pretty good. The hair tie's coming out. What else has been going on this week? I've been thinking about what do our lessons plans look like. Like I said, I had that 5th grade class and I did a lot of review today. There was a little bit of new in terms of the lesson we were talking about, a lot of information literacy on don't fall for fake and how to keep ourselves making safer choices online when it comes to spam and not being tricked. And I chose to do a full review for a few reasons. Number 1, because review is good teaching. Number 2, though, is because we miss school days and I've got classes that are off. They are, we're not all on the same schedule because we missed a full day and then we missed, a morning. And I got this classes that are not going to be lined up in the lessons, and that makes lesson planning and really remembering where you are pretty tricky. One of my hacks around that is to plan units of study so that I can repeat or enrich or deepen the lesson without leaving anybody behind. So next week's classes that missed this week are going to do a review. And actually, they'll do a quick review, and then we're going to do a book, a read aloud, very specifically focused for Black History Month, because we're going to do a little mini Black History Month unit, so reading books about African American lives and creators before the end of February. And then we're going to jump back into our look on media literacy. But before we do that, let's take a look at what we just finished covering. I Am an American, the Wong Kim arc story. Martha Brockenbrough, Grace Lynn are a dream team in this, and Julia Koo, is our illustrator. I think with the timeliness of this book, it came out a few years ago. We didn't have it in our space, and we need it in our space. That's all I have to say about that. If you were born in this country, you are a citizen. Back to what I was talking about, though. A little bit about how we're lesson planning. Really thinking about those units. Units give you a lot of flexibility. At least they do for me. So if I need to extend, I extend. And if I need to cut something short, I at least know that we covered it, but maybe not to the depth that other classes got it. Because field trips and snow days and all other sorts of interruptions happen that you just can't plan for. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're cranking along here on this Friday afternoon before we head home to the weekend. My weekend is, I don't even know what I'm doing this weekend. I used to know when my kids were little. I have a little personal story time. My calendar used to be pretty full with, you know, birthday parties and play dates and gymnastics and soccer and swim lessons and all of the things. And it was, you know, just about the whole schedule taken up. And that changes when your kids get a little older. And my kids are a little older. And we don't do that anymore. And it's a little, in some ways, bittersweet. Because, you know, what I used to do on my weekends, I was on the sidelines for 2 different games. And I was getting somebody to the gym and then running them back and making sure we had snacks in the car. Oh, side note, the yellow bus, Loren Long's brilliant 2024 offering. This book is the heart book of my students. We did a mock Caldecott this year, and this was their top pick. Absolutely stunning illustrations. And a beautiful story on top of it. It's really kind of like a circle of life story featuring a bus, which I hadn't seen before. The illustrations just set this book into a different level. While it doesn't have an official Caldecott sticker on here, I think it has going to have our school's Caldecott win on this book because it was their mock winner. Beautiful. I'm almost done with this pile, y'all. We've got 2.5 minutes left. That's also what I'm going to do this weekend, is start to get over this cold, because I don't know about anywhere else, the sickness is going around here like nobody's business. The sickness. Feels like we are sniffling, we are coughing, we are sneezing, and we are sick here on this Friday. I've been recovering as well. I feel like lots of other professions, if you're not feeling so great, you can take that sick day. In teaching, you cannot. Not unless, for me, you are really sick, because we all know what is worse than being sick as a teacher? Writing subplans. That's worse. Writing subplans is worse. So, this is not that serious of a sickness where I would need to stay home. We already had that this year. We already had a moment where there was no question that I had to stay home for a week. So when the doctor says stay home for a week, you stay home for a week. We're going to crank through. We're going to get like 5 books done today, y'all. This is fantastic. Using my time wisely, working smarter, and holding myself accountable. Making sure I put the books in the jacket like correctly. Have you ever done that? Covered the book and then looked back and gone, oh, son of a gun, I put it in there upside down. I've done that. It's pretty good. Chooch helped. This year's Caldecott winner, Andrea Rogers, Rebecca Lee Kuntz, got that Caldecott medal on it. I can buy those from the ALA store. You can buy those from the ALA store if when you buy your books, it doesn't have the medal on there. Ours didn't. I did do a read aloud of this after we did our mock vote, and my students absolutely loved it. It reads out loud beautifully. You know, I was a little nervous about that to see what kids thought of it. They came away from this book really quite enjoying it, and they wanted to check it out literally right then. They took it off of my lesson area and brought it to check out, and I said, you got to let me cover it and get it cataloged. So starting next week, it'll be available. All right. That was a Friday 15 of what's going on here at my library, covering some books, talking some life week events, and we'll see you next Friday. Until then, bye for now.